Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you are doing really well today. So today I'm going to talk about a topic that's very close to home for me. Yeah, it's a subject that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, but it's something that's very personal and yeah, I don't know, it's always hard to talk about things that are to do with yourself and your own like thoughts, feelings and emotions, but I think that because of, you know, this amazing platform that I've been given, I am going to vocalise my thoughts and feelings and hope that it kind of helps one of you guys, or at least helps you to relate to what I've got to say. But yeah, so I want to talk about social anxiety, and it's a massive thing for me. It's a huge big deal. Social anxiety has been part of my life for my whole life, for as long as I can remember, since I was tiny. Yeah. I want to do a video talking about generalized anxiety and how to overcome anxiety or help anxiety. So I'll probably do that video in the future, but this video is just going to be literally just about social anxiety. A few of you have asked me to talk about it because in my meditation retreat video I mentioned that I have social anxiety, and a lot of you were interested to know about my experience and how I cope with it and things like that. So I think it's really important to, you know, get a conversation going about mental health. Mental health is a massive thing, and it's something that's been always shushed about. You know, we don't talk about it, it's not out in the open, there's too much stigma about it. So I'm just going to put my life out there, and I'm not bothered. Anyone can know that I have social anxiety, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. It's just part of me, it's part of who I am, and I'm working on it. So yeah, there is a massive difference between being socially anxious and being shy. So for most of my life I've been called shy, but actually I've found out in the last few years that it's not shyness, it's actually social anxiety. And I think that shyness is a branch of social anxiety, but it's not a severe form of it. So to me, being shy is just really having trouble vocalizing your opinions, you know, finding it hard to speak up in groups, preferring to be around small amounts of people as opposed to massive amounts of people. But social anxiety is the part where it comes into fear, like being scared of a situation, being terrified, like it keeping you up at night. And it's more to do with avoiding situations. That's when it becomes social anxiety as opposed to being just shy. Shyness it has an impact on your life, but it doesn't really impact your life that much, whereas social anxiety can completely absorb your life if you let it, which is such a shame because it does happen to quite a lot of people, and I think if I'd have let mine it would have absolutely destroyed my life, but thankfully I caught it just in time. But yeah, so when I was younger I was always really quiet. I never really liked to make loads of friends. I had friends, I've always had friends, but I never had loads of friends, and I was never the one to be the class clown or anything like that. And a lot of the time when I was younger, if I went to a new house with my mum or new friends and stuff like that, I would always be terrified, and I would always be so scared and so worried. And you know, sometimes my family members would introduce me as, "This is Catherine, she's shy," and then it's oh, okay, I guess that I'm shy then. I can't really I felt like I had to live up to the expectation of that then, because it's people wouldn't expect me to be really loud and really outgoing, because then it'd be oh, and then pay more attention to it, which it kind of put me in this little box, which is another symptom of social anxiety, is overthinking everything. So obviously that's not a normal thought process, but it's a thought process that I had and have always had. So it's I would make this persona of myself as this shy person that never spoke, that never, you know, was outgoing. I had a little group of friends and that's what was me. I wouldn't speak up in class or anything like that. So to put my hand up in class was a big deal, because it's there was a few other people in my class that had really bad social anxiety too, and as soon as they would put the hand up or speak out, everyone would be like, "Oh, she speaks," and it's that's so horrible. It's such a big deal to actually be able to speak up, but then for people to make such a big deal out of it, oh yeah. So for me, I just gonna quickly this is probably gonna be a long video, I'm sorry for that, but it's just kind of a stream of consciousness to you guys. But for me, school was the worst experience of my life. I had a really good time. You know, I made lots of friends and I had really good experiences overall, but there's certain aspects of school that I absolutely hated. So for example, having to speak up in class, having to read out loud in class when they would go around the room and you'd have to read a sentence each. So for someone with social anxiety like me, a normal person would just get the book and they would read, you know, the other person would be reading, they would read along, and then it would come to their go, they wouldn't even think about it and they'd start reading. For me, as that other person's reading, I'm reading the paragraph I'm going to have to read and trying to preempt where I'm going to read it so that I don't read it wrong and so that I know what I'm reading. And the whole time I'm just getting really hot, really flustered and really stressed, and then it comes to me and I'm the whole word ends, and then I have to read it out loud. And it sounds so stupid to say it now, and I feel I've come a lot further than I was at that point, but that was my reality at that moment. Was absolute fear. Like, you're just going to fight or flight mode, and it's terrifying. But yeah, so I would hate doing anything like that. I would really hate doing like group presentations. Group presentations were like my worst enemy. I absolutely hated it, and I was forced to do it quite a lot. And one of my English lessons, you know, I spoke to my teacher about it, and I was like, I really don't want to do this. Like, it's keeping me up at night having to think about having to do this presentation. And she was so supportive and so lovely. And, you know, she said at that point, she was like, it's not fair that you've got to do this, because, you know, it's having an impact on your life. Like, it's negatively impacting you. It shouldn't be negatively impacting you, but it is. And, you know, and I think at that point I was like, I fell out with the education system, because I was like, I'm not, like, we're not all the same. Like, some people thrive in those situations, and some people it can actually damage you. Like, it's good to push boundaries and it's good to get out of your comfort zone, but it's not good to be so far out of your comfort zone that you can't sleep at night. Like, you know, there's like steps you can take to get to that point, but you shouldn't have to go from like 0 to 100 in like a second. That's just terrifying, and I don't think that that was like constructive or anything. Thankfully, I managed to do the presentation, because sometimes when I really push myself, I can do things, and, you know, I would never want to do it again. But I did it, and I was proud of myself, and she gave me a really good grade, because she knew how much of like a big deal it had been for me. But yeah, you know, school, it was difficult for me. It was really difficult, and just things like, you know, being the centre of attention when you're playing rounders or playing tennis or playing football. All of those occasions were terrifying to me, because it's like everyone's watching me, everyone's judging me, and it's kind of like through a lack of self-confidence. I guess that's what social anxiety comes down to, is not having the confidence in yourself, and, you know, worrying about the way that others perceive you, and so you don't want to say anything wrong, you don't want to do anything wrong. Oh god, it's like, it's exhausting to be inside your own brain at times. So I just kind of want to give some of the like symptoms of social anxiety disorder, and just, you know, help any of you who have it to just relate, or any of you who don't have it but, you know, have never even heard of it or don't really understand it, kind of give you an idea. Because I talk to Dom about it all the time. He doesn't have social anxiety, he's not shy at all, and it's really funny, like, him listening to what I've got to say and him being like, oh my god, that's awful, like, I'm sorry to hear that, I'm sorry that you go through that. And it's like, until you know, you're not aware. So yeah. So like, one of the first things, like I said, is going into a social situation. And I said to Dom, I was like, if you know, if I gave you this scenario, like, you know, you've got some friends at work and they want to meet you, what's your first instinct? And it was like, the first instinct would be like, oh, why do they want to meet me? And so I'd explain, and, you know, it was all good things, and then he'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'd go then. And it's like, so what feelings do you feel? And it's just like, it is what it is, I'm just gonna go and we're gonna have a good time. For me, flip that situation over, and the first feeling that I get is absolute fear, like dread, fear, worry, and just like overwhelmed. Like, it's terrifying. It's so weird, because if it was my friends in my situation and in my comfort zone, it'd be absolutely fine. But when it's the opposite way, it's just like, like starting the first day of school again. Like, it's just like terrifying. Yeah, so I would say the first thing like that comes into your head with social anxiety in a social situation is fear. And that's something that I've kind of rewired over the last few years. Is my first instinct when I saw someone I didn't know was just like, oh my god, terrifying, you're scary. Like, I was scared of people that I didn't know. I was just scared of people. Like, I didn't want to talk to people, I didn't want to do anything to do with people. And I've kind of trained my brain to associate people with a good feeling, because now, I mentioned this in one of my past videos, but I make an intent, like, I make it my intention to smile at people when I see them, so that when I see a person, because obviously I work in a supermarket now, I see a lot of people, and I don't think I could have done this job a few years ago. I think it would have been way too overwhelming. But when I see someone now, I smile at them, and that trains my brain to realise that this person is friendly, they don't mean me any harm, and they're absolutely fine, they're not judging me, everything's great. And by doing that, it's really helped. And, you know, people smile back, and it's just like, oh, you know, like, it reaffirms the belief and, you know, the actual truth that that person doesn't mean you any harm, and that it's just your brain tricking you. And yeah, it's just a learned process that you have to unlearn and relearn something positive with. A bit like, I guess it's like CBT, or like some sort of behavioural therapy kind of thing. That I'm just kind of doing by myself. So things that are really difficult are answering phone calls. I absolutely hate answering phone calls. I've always hated it. It makes me sweaty, it's disgusting, I really hate it. I can now like ring people when I need to and do things, but actually like talking to someone I don't know on the phone is terrifying, and having to ring someone, or, you know, talk to people, like important people at banks, or ringing for a job or something like that, terrifying, absolutely terrifying, but like beyond terrifying. Like, it's scary to me. Also, meeting strangers is a massive big deal, and so going traveling for me was huge, and it's really helped me to overcome a lot of my fears, and a lot of, you know, I don't know, thoughts that I had about meeting people and what people would think of me, and you just kind of get past it and you're just like, I'm just going to meet people. If I make a bad impression on these people, I'll never see them again in my life, so you may as well go and try. What have you got to lose? But yeah, so meeting people, meeting strangers is really difficult with social anxiety. You overthink everything, and also when you make friends, you know, you feel like you're bugging them all the time by talking to them and stuff, and that's just you overthinking the situation once again. So another thing is, in a social situation, you know, you'll find it really difficult to go up to people and start a conversation, and sometimes it can get completely overwhelming if there's way too many people, and you'll just go and like hide in a bathroom, or like just go and be in a different room away from everyone just to kind of give yourself a breather, because it gets so overwhelming and you can't cope. But that also ties into another thing that happens, is you can watch other people socializing and having a really good time, and you just think, oh, I wish that was me, I wish I could do that, I wish it was that easy for me, and you kind of don't do what you want to do. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of things throughout my life where I've done something or I haven't done something that I wanted to do, and it could be as simple as like being in a classroom full of people, like 30 people, really needing to go to the toilet, but you're too scared to put your hand up to ask if you can go to the toilet, which is so stupid. Or like wanting to put something in the bin, but you physically can't move yourself from your seat because you're too scared for all of those 30 people to be watching the back of your like body as you walk to the bin. And it's so stupid to say out loud, and I hope that one of you can relate to this and you don't all think I'm absolutely balmy, but I'm just being real. You know, I kind of think like nowadays I would still have those thoughts, but I would just get up and do it anyway, just to try. There's certain boundaries and like comfort levels that I have now, but I feel like I've come a long way from where I was. And I just want to say, if you're in that position still, you know, like if you're still really struggling with any of the things that I've said, it will get better, and you know, it will get better over time. You just have to keep testing your boundaries and keep pushing yourself just a little bit at a time. Don't go and like do some group presentation, because that's not helpful. So another thing that I've like struggled with is eye contact. Like I really struggle with eye contact. I think it's really difficult, because suddenly if you like make eye contact with someone, it's as if you realize that you're in a conversation with someone, and you become so aware of your thoughts, feelings and emotions, and like then you just can't concentrate on anything. So I've always struggled with eye contact, and I once had a teacher and she just had really beady eyes, and she just like stare into my soul, and I'd just be like like I'd feel like I was glued to my seat. She was terrifying. So yeah, that's another thing, like authority figures and stuff like that. It's really difficult because you feel like they're on a pedestal compared to you, and you feel so inferior, and you're so worried about what they think of you and like everything to do with that, and it becomes really difficult to engage in conversations with people that you then perceive as better than you. So it might just be someone the same class as me, or the same, I'm talking about school a lot because that's where most of my social anxiety was, but like, you know, even at work, if there's someone that I feel like is better than me or does this better than me, I'll put them on a pedestal, and then I find it really difficult to talk to them or like be real with them. And yeah, that's something I've definitely got better at, and I think that's probably just through traveling and seeing so many people all the time. Like living in a hostel with like 50 people does that to you, you know. So yeah, I do think traveling has had a massive impact on my social anxiety. I really do, a positive one at that. So the symptoms, like the actual symptoms, so that come from that, from those experiences that I said, you know, you get really hot, you get really sweaty, you feel like as if you're gonna faint. If you've ever fainted before, you'll know what I mean. Like all of the blood feels like it drains from your face, your mouth goes dry, and you're just like you don't know what to do with yourself. That's the feeling that I get when I'm completely overwhelmed with anxiety. So it might just be standing up in front of that group of people and then just being like, oh my god, like I can't make the words come out of my mouth. Or like, you know, if you're talking to someone and it's a conflicting situation. So I'm also no good at confrontation. I absolutely hate confrontation. If I'm ever in conflict, I just feel like I go bright red. I don't know if I do because I can't see myself, but just feel like sick, just feel sick and feel faint and feel like lightheaded and just awful and dizzy. Yeah, basically all the feelings of like a panic attack kind of thing, but without the panic attack. And also your breathing can change, like your breathing becomes really rapid, which is terrifying to be a part of because you just feel so panicky. And I would say, like, as well as that, fidgeting, you end up fidgeting a lot as well. And I want to say this because I think this is relatable. The feeling of like having social anxiety in a social situation where you've got to speak or feel like you should speak is the same as if you've ever really wanted to tell your mum or your brother or anyone, like any family member or any friend, something. So like, you know, if you've got a really big secret but you really want to tell this person but you're too scared to tell them, like you're too worried to tell them, and you feel like the words literally can't come out of your mouth and you can't imagine actually saying the words, and it's like you go to say it and then you stop yourself, and then you go to say it and then you stop yourself, and you just keep swallowing your words and you can't actually get the words out. That's exactly what social anxiety feels like when it's in its like deepest parts. you literally can't say anything, you literally don't know what to say, you can't imagine actually saying the words out loud, and that's what it feels like, really. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up because it's getting very, very long, but I just want to help any of you who are suffering through social anxiety, and I just want to say my heart absolutely goes out to you, or anyone who's struggling with any kind of mental disorder or disordered thoughts, or, you know, it's really hard to go through, and my heart goes out to you, you know, it is really difficult. And I just want to say that, you know, especially with social anxiety, just remember that nothing matters in the scheme of things, nothing matters, and if you say something today, it's likely the person will have even forgotten you said it tomorrow, and what seems like a big deal to you right now is not a big deal in the scheme of things. And so, you know, make sure that if you go out today, you just talk to someone and you just say hello to someone, or you do something that you wouldn't have done normally, or strike up a conversation, because you'll be surprised at how easy it is, and how doing that more and more often really, really helps you to get out of that deep, deep dark hole that you can get yourself into. And some of the ways that I cope with social anxiety myself is, if you're in a really big social situation, find something to hold, like distract yourself, get a cup, get a glass, get anything, hold on to it, and you've got then a barrier like between you and them, and you've got something to hold, and you know, you feel less awkward if you've got something there physically to hold on to, and it's kind of comforting as well. Another thing I would do is, if you can, just take a step back, go somewhere, go to the bathroom, and just like become aware of your own breathing, because like I said, your breathing becomes very rapid, but if you can concentrate on your breathing will slow down and you'll start to feel more calm. You can go back into the situation with like a whole new slate, rather than letting yourself get completely overwhelmed in that moment. Just remove yourself, come back to base, and then go back and start again, rather than just getting completely overwhelmed and then needing to leave and then like never wanting to go back again. Just before you get to that point, remove yourself, take a breather, and then go back into it with new eyes. And also, don't feel like you've got to do every single social situation in the world. It's not good to like remove yourself from all social situations, but if something feels like it's going to be too much for you mentally, do not exhaust yourself. Do not ever feel under pressure to do something that you don't want to do, because, you know, you are important. You are the most important person in your world, and you should come before anybody else. So if doing this social situation is going to have a negative impact on your mental health and, you know, your confidence levels and your self-esteem, do not do it. Don't do it. Just wait until you're ready. Do little steps to get to that point, but don't like throw yourself in at the deep end, because it's not good for you in the long run. Like, you know, you've got to just take baby steps and just be kind to yourself. That is like my main message, I think, through all of my videos, is you are trying your hardest, so just be kind to yourself and know that you are doing the best that you can, and that's absolutely amazing, and you should just keep at it. So I've got a really, really long quote to end this really, really long video, but I want to share it with you because it's from a book that I absolutely love, and if you are struggling with anxiety, I highly recommend it. It's called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, and I think I've mentioned this a few times, but I really love this book. And when I read this, I was like, I feel like it really made a dent in my anxiety levels, and it really made me like become more aware of my thoughts and become more aware that my thoughts are disordered, and then be able to deal with them in a really like better way, I guess, for a lack of other words. So the quote goes, "To get some distance from this, you first need to get some perspective. Walk outside on a clear night and just look up in the sky. You are sitting on a planet spinning around in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Though you can see only a few thousand stars, there are hundreds of billions of stars in our Milky Way galaxy alone. In fact, it's estimated that there are over 1 trillion stars in the spiral galaxy, and that the galaxy would look like just one star to us, if we could even see it. You're just standing on a little ball of dirt and spinning around on one of those stars. From that perspective, do you really care what people think about your clothes or your car? Do you really need to feel embarrassed if you forget someone's name? How can you let those meaningless things cause pain? If you want out, if you want a decent life, you had better not devote your life to avoiding psychological pain. You had better not spend your life worrying about whether people like you or whether your car impresses people. What kind of life is that? It's a life of pain. You may not think you feel this pain often, but you really do. To spend your life avoiding pain means it's always right behind you." So yeah, basically just that. If you always keep in your comfort bubble, if you never leave the house, you know, if you become one of those really socially introverted people with massive social anxiety disorder and you never leave the house, you are completely like cushioning yourself in this little bubble, but that's not living, that's not life. So you need to get out there, you need to push boundaries, and you need to just make small little steps and go out of your comfort zone. And this goes for any disorder, depression, anxiety, anything like that. You know, just make tiny little steps forward. Do not like cushion yourself, and do not baby yourself so much that you can't live the life that you want to live, because, you know, you are more than your thoughts. You are your thoughts. You control everything that you think about, and, you know, you have thoughts, but you can control the way that they go, and you can control the way that they make you feel, which is the most important thing ever. So yeah, I really hope that this video helped, and I hope that it gave some clarity, and I hope that if you've listened for this long, you're amazing. I've kind of rambled, but I just really wanted it to be more of a sit down chat, you know, just me and you guys just chatting away and me just telling you my life story. And yeah, I feel like, you know, you've got to know me a little bit more in this video, and so, you know, I really want to do things like meetups in the future, and I really want to meet some of you guys, but obviously it's completely overwhelming to me, but I will be doing it and I will get there, and you know, it's going to be amazing. And like I said, it's just baby steps to get there, and I really just hope that, you know, putting this message out there helps someone, or, you know, helps you to relate, or helps you to feel like you're going less insane like I do most days. Because we're all in this journey together, and each person, you know, when you walk past people in the street, we're all going through our own like scenario, we're all going through our own thing. Everyone's got their own crap that they're going through, you know, we're all just in this together, and no one's better than anybody else. We're all dealing with our own stuff, and that's something that you've got to remember, is nobody's perfect and we're all just trying our hardest. So that's it. Wise words for the day over from me. I'm going to let you guys go now and get on with your days, because I have taken up quite a lot of your time. So if you've watched this far, then I really appreciate you, and thank you so much for watching. You know, if you are struggling with social anxiety or depression or anything like that, then it's really important to reach out for help and to get help in any way that you can. I'm more than happy to, you know, if you want to message me and just talk to me or just vent, or, you know, say anything, then just send me a message, because I'm more than happy to help you all. Obviously I'm not qualified, I'm not a professional, maybe one day I will be, who knows, but I'm more than happy to give you some advice, or, you know, help you, tell you things that have helped me and guide you along on this journey, because no one should go through this alone, and you are not alone, and you're not completely insane just like I feel most days. We're all in this together, and it's going to be okay. So, you know, if you are dealing with social anxiety in particular, then leave me a comment below and just let me know how it's impacted your life, or what some of the like scariest things that you have to do are, or also like what's one of the biggest things that you've ever done that's overcome an aspect of social anxiety. You know, what's the best thing what's the thing you're most proud of in the world that you've done that overcame that fear for one day or one moment? I'd be really interested to know that, because I think that's just like such a positive spin to put on this video, is like the fact that we can get through this, and you know, we can put ourselves out there and we can achieve things. So yeah, just let me know below if you've got like any experiences that you're really proud of. I would love to know. So yeah, that's it from me. Please give me a big like if you enjoyed this video, and please share this video if you found it helpful and you feel like it could help somebody else in the world. Yeah, that would be really good. You know, I want to spread this message so far, and I want to really help anybody out there who's, you know, dealing with anything, you know, anything to do with that. Please subscribe if you're new to this channel. I want to talk about all kinds of things, but I also do want to talk about mental health a little bit more in the future. Some other topics I want to cover are anxiety and how to, you know, cope with anxiety, and also I want to talk about depression a little bit too in the future, because they're both things that I deal with on a daily basis, and I want to just get the word out there and make it more of a normalised topic to talk about. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you got something from it. I absolutely love you all so much, and thank you so much for watching this video. Have an amazing day wherever you are in the world. Bye guys.